Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in this episode of The Hypnotist, you're going to be listening to a hypnosis session created for a client that wanted to release a lot of very intense, heavy emotions linked to past events. For this particular client, it involved family members, but the way that this session has been recorded, it is applicable to anyone from the past and could be multiple people from the past. And sometimes if you have, let's say, been wronged by some kind of unfair, unjust, malicious, or just inappropriate behavior of the past that is affecting your emotions today, it's highly probable that it's affecting you more than it's affecting the person that was the cause of that particular event. And one of the key things that I think is important for people to know is that forgiveness is not important or not essential to move forward. It is not essential. It's just very, very useful. And what forgiveness does is it doesn't relinquish any kind of responsibility on the individual that was the cause of some kind of pain. But it does release a lot of the emotions from the person holding that pain or that anger or that sadness. And that's really what this session is all about. It uses elements of disassociation and a feeling of resourcefulness and freedom to get to the point where conversations take place with three different people in the case of the client, but with you listening, it could be the same person with three different moments, for example, in three different locations. And it really links to this idea of releasing through empathy, acceptance, and understanding, not because you're expecting them to change or them to take responsibility in reality, just the representation of them to get you to a place where you can move forward with less anger, sadness, stress, or frustration, or anxiety, or whatever the emotion may be. If you have had very painful moments of the past that are affecting your present, and you feel like hypnosis could help, there will be a link in the show notes where you can schedule a free 30-minute consultation call to explore working with me. And although this session that you're about to listen to was created for someone else, it may be useful for you. All I would encourage you to do is to ignore any references or suggestions that are not applicable to you and to fill in the gaps with the equivalent that would be, depending on you and your situation and what you've experienced in your past. This is meant to be empowering and useful to enable you to move forward in your life in the most positive, empowered way possible. So find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, relax. And I won't say enjoy the session, but keep an open mind. And if there are heavy emotions, abreaction, so the release of emotions like tears or anything like that is a perfectly natural part of this particular process. So just find a quiet place and open your mind to the possibility of releasing whatever emotions need to be released. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow a feeling of relaxation to naturally appear around your eyes, your eyelids, so they feel more relaxed and heavy. As you exhale, feel tension leaving your body. So you're breathing in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any stress, anxiety, any frustrations or sadness, feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath, enabling you to feel deeper and deeper relaxed. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to imagine being able to fly. You could imagine that you can levitate. Maybe imagine that you have wings. I want you to imagine you have this wonderful feeling of freedom. I want you to feel how it would feel to be able to fly over oceans. Within hours, you could be anywhere in the world. And just get this wonderful feeling of freedom. Perhaps you could imagine feeling the wind across your face, in your hair, as you fly, perhaps over trees or mountains, oceans or cities. Maybe there's people you want to see in the world. Perhaps you can imagine flying to Barcelona, feeling of freedom, and imagine flying perhaps over the incredible architecture of Barcelona, the impressive parks, the palaces, and then imagine perhaps flying over Europe all the way to Berlin, seeing the different styles of buildings, large motorways, the historic buildings. Get a wonderful feeling of freedom, that the world truly is your oyster, with this ability to use your wings to fly. You could go anywhere and be with anyone you choose to be. Breathe in and breathe out. Perhaps imagine flying to a particular house, maybe a house of your childhood. But I want you to imagine that you are feeling incredibly confident, resourceful, and connected to yourself. As you touch down there outside that house, breathe in that wonderful feeling of calm, resourcefulness, exhaling any tension, anxiety, or fears or worries. Allow your wings to just disappear. They're still there for you, but no one else can see them. And I want you to imagine perhaps walking to a place in the garden, and there is someone specific there in the garden that it's really important that you have a conversation where you talk and they listen. This is a relaxed, informal conversation. Maybe they're sitting and maybe you're sitting. And if you can see that person where certain things feel like they need to be said, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to feel a sense of certainty, of safety, of courage and confidence deep within. And I want you to think of a very specific moment of the past that you feel needs to be discussed. I want you to build rapport in some way by complimenting them on something you know they will appreciate. Maybe it's a memory where they did something good. Maybe it's a time they helped you out. Maybe it's a quality they have that you truly do admire. And when you compliment them on that area of their life, notice that there's a smile and they relax. I want you to preface the conversation you're about to have by saying, look, I need to say something, not to change you, but just so that it's said. Breathe in and breathe out, and then just imagine, in a first-person perspective, you're in your body, they're in theirs. I want you to imagine saying the words. But as you're saying the words, I want you to imagine taking the position of the person you're talking to so that you can hear your words being said and to feel how it makes you feel to hear them. Perhaps you're hearing about something you did wrong, something that was unacceptable. And I want you to feel deep within, maybe the instinct is to be defensive, to justify. But in this moment, taking their perspective, I want you to just listen, to hear what needed to be said. Taking their perception, you can see you as if you're someone else, saying the words that needed to be said. And maybe there's emotion. Maybe you need to release that anger and then switch perspectives again, now back in your body. I want you to articulate what happened, how it made you feel at the time. Perhaps your perception on the problems that caused way beyond that initial moment. As you say the words, notice the reaction of this person hearing them. Maybe they're uncomfortable, but I want you to imagine them taking 100% responsibility for what they did. Maybe this wouldn't happen in reality, but this is hypnosis. And in hypnosis, anything can happen. You can fly over oceans, which means you can have a conversation with someone where they take full responsibility for their actions. Breathing in and breathing out. And if you feel they've taken 100% responsibility for something that's caused you a problem or pain in the past, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And at the point where they've taken that responsibility, tell them that you're not expecting them to change, but that you do forgive them. They don't need to accept the apology or the forgiveness, but you're giving it. And I want you to feel like a weight is lifted from your shoulders. That the loop that's been open perhaps for many years is starting to close. For a wound to heal, it needs to be cleaned. I want you to feel that this conversation is helping to clean a wound so it can now truly heal again. And if your unconscious is willing to heal, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. I want you to give this person a hug. Tell them how you truly feel about them and what they mean to you. And then say goodbye. And I want you to imagine walking to a different part of this house, perhaps the front yard, where there is a different person there. Maybe they're shocked to see you. But I want you to imagine someone perhaps that was the cause of a lot of pain and anxiety and uncertainty and a lack of safety is there. And if you can see them there in the front yard, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Then I want you to imagine complimenting them on perhaps one thing that you know they like to hear. Maybe something they did they're proud of, something they're good at that makes them feel good that you noticed that. And when you've said the thing that's helped you to build rapport, let me know by nodding your head. Notice their body language is now relaxed. And again, tell them there's something that you need to say. They don't need to say anything. Just listen. They don't need to justify or explain. But this is about something you need to do for you. And then tell them. Tell them the thing that perhaps you can never tell them to their face. Tell them what needs to be said. And maybe there's an emotion like anger, sadness. I want you to say the words that need to be said. And briefly, imagine being in their body, hearing those words. And rather than justify or explain, just imagine listening and feeling a sense of remorse or accountability or responsibility. Just enough, and then bounce back to your first person perspective. And I want you to imagine that you can stream memories, emotions and thoughts from your mind to theirs, so they are able to connect with how their actions made you feel, the consequences that you experienced in your life. And I want you to see that they are affected by that bridge of empathy you're creating. And I want you to imagine, just in your imagination, perhaps that they apologize or take full responsibility for that thing. And even better, if they tell you that they did wrong and what they should have done instead. This is just your imagination. In reality, it may never happen, and it doesn't need to. But if within your imagination they're willing to apologize or take responsibility, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. And as they do, tell them you forgive them completely, without expectation. And I want you to see that they feel a weight has been lifted from their shoulder. You're not only closing a loop for you, you're closing a loop for them. Feel that you are releasing a heavy energy you've been holding for a long time. Feel it almost melt away, going through your feet into the floor. That somehow you can breathe easier. That you can feel human. Find it within yourself to give them a hug and say goodbye. And when you've said goodbye, let me know by nodding your head. you to imagine perhaps moving into the living room where there is one final person in this house. I want you to see them, their expression, how they're breathing. And I want you to tell them what you could never say. Tell them the things that you're frustrated by, that you're sad about, maybe that you're angry for. Tell them how you would have wanted things to have been. And just see them listening. Temporarily feel like you're in their body, just hearing the words, feeling the thoughts and emotions streaming from you to them, and then jump back. And maybe you say that no one's perfect. Tell them you love them. But also tell them that things weren't right. Tell them how you wish things were different. And just in your imagination, just in the world of hypnosis, hear them say how they would have wanted it to have been. That if they had a magic wand, then they could have done things different than they would. And maybe hear why they didn't. Maybe they felt helpless. Maybe they felt the chains of expectation. Maybe at that point, they felt they had no other option. But as they take responsibility and accountability for the hurt, the pain that you experienced, hear them take that responsibility. Maybe they apologize. Maybe they say how they would have wanted things to have been. And when you hear the responsibility, feel the words leave your lips. I forgive you. Totally, completely, unreservedly. And feel a wave of emotion, feel like it's been released. And as that emotion feels like it's been released, now you can tell them what you feel they need to hear the most from you. If you've healed, maybe you can help them heal. And maybe there's something that they needed to hear from you. Maybe in some way, they want to hear that you're responsible for something, what you could have done different. And as you stream that responsibility and accountability, maybe hear the words, I'm sorry, leave your lips. Hear them forgiving you. We've all made mistakes. We've all caused pain and heartache. And I want you to feel as you hear the words, I forgive you, another wave of emotion is released. Imagine hugging this person and feel the genuine connection that your healing energy is transferring to them. That both of you are better off after this interaction than before. And when you've said what needs to be said, then it's time to leave. Let me know by nodding your head. As you leave, hug them again. See that person in the front yard. Tell them what they mean to you when they're at their best. Give them a hug and say goodbye. And then perhaps go to that garden. Tell them what they mean to you when they're at their best. Hug them and say goodbye. And when you're ready to leave, let me know by nodding your head. Feel the wings start to come back and then fly away with a wonderful sense of freedom and lightness. The whole world is your oyster. Forgiveness does not mean tolerance. Forgiveness does not mean you're condoning the behavior of the past. Forgiveness is about letting go of the weights and the baggage you've been holding onto for years, so you can fly higher, faster, and further than ever before. A bird can't fly if it has something tied to its tiny claws. But when it's released, you can fly to wherever it needs to be. So allow yourself to fly to wherever you need to be, knowing that you can return, not because you're expected to, but because you can choose to whenever you wish. I want you to fly back to the present. Feel yourself in your body at this point in time, but feeling like you've released a lot of emotion that needed to be released. Breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, feel connected completely to the present version of you in the here and now. As very soon I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, feeling lighter, more free, with a willingness to do what needs to be done, to be the freest, happiest version of you possible. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.